Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
You're listening to episode number 9. Today, we're going to be breaking down the first episode in the miniseries Ms. Marvel on Disney+. Before we get started in the episode, I'm going to preface it by saying that Josh has a tongue injury, and it has been an issue today.
This is our fourth or fifth take of trying to record this podcast, and part of it's because we're both stressed out right now. The other part is that I feel like I can't talk because my tongue feels swollen.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. But anyway, we're not doing any more takes. We're just going to go with it because my mom and her husband are currently in the other room watching Grayson because he only took an hour-long nap, and he normally takes like a 3-hour nap on Sundays. So they're trying to be quiet and they're doing a great job, but we are kind of on a time schedule. So we're going to start with the episode. Okay. So Ms. Marvel. The show is going to be based on Ms. Marvel, obviously.
Kamala Khan.
Kamala Khan is a 16-year-old Muslim Pakistani American who lives in Jersey City. So she is definitely a kind of misunderstood youth. So we get to see that a little bit in the episode. And then, of course, at the end of the episode, she gets her powers. But we're gonna just do like a recap, of course, per usual, of the episode and our overall thoughts. So you want to talk about the beginning?
Yeah, so the beginning of the episode, the whole like first few minutes of the episode are what we get in the comics themselves was like a fan fiction, because that's what she's into in the comics. So the fan fiction beginning is actually her YouTube page, which is hilarious. And the whole time she's talking about how Captain Marvel is the mightiest Avenger for the team. And she's doing like she said it's a 10-part miniseries. So, and this was the last part. So it's pretty fun that we're getting like a character that is already like obviously we love the characters of these movies, and it's fun to see like a character in a movie that's like, I love these characters or I love these heroes.
Yeah, we haven't seen anything like her yet because she's like a super fan.
Yeah.
And she eventually is going to get powers, which is super cool. And we're going to find out relatively similar to Captain Marvel's powers. You probably know a lot more about that than I do.
Kind of, but different in a lot of ways. But it's funny too that Iman Vellani, the girl that plays Kamala, she's actually like a MCU like super fan too.
That's awesome because I feel like at this point, if you're going to be cast in Marvel, you should be a fan. That should be a prerequisite to being in any part of it. The movies, the TV shows, in any way, shape, or form.
Well, she actually like walks around with a notebook of MCU like theories and stuff.
Okay.
And her and Kevin Feige have gotten like, not in arguments, but discussions about like things that are wrong in the MCU and plot holes and stuff like that. So I think it's just funny and charming that this 16-year-old girl is telling Kevin Feige like, hey, this isn't right, but I'm okay with it. So it's just fun. So she seems super sweet, and she does a great job in the role of this character. But getting back to the plot of the story, her YouTube page, and you think, well, how does she know like all this stuff about what happened during Avengers Endgame? Well, you find out that she actually listens to Scott Lang's podcast called Big Me, Little Me. And it's pretty much a podcast where, assumingly, he talks about like everything that's ever happened to him ever since he's been an Avenger.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I would love to listen to that podcast. And I hope that eventually they either make it like a spoof where they actually do like a Scott Lang podcast and they play it like on like Marvel.com's page, or we actually like hear it in the future. So after that whole scene, we get the Marvel intro sequence, and then we catch up with the mom, the dad, her brother, and herself in the kitchen of their house as she's getting ready to go take her driver's ed test or practice driving. I'm not sure which one it is.
I believe it's to get either a permit or a license.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say really quickly that they updated the intro for Marvel to include Doctor Strange from the Multiverse of Madness. And then I think there's one other change. Moon Knight. That's right.
Yeah.
Of course. How could I forget?
Yeah, because you didn't watch the show.
Yeah. Anyway, so they updated the intro. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so the whole time they're in the kitchen and the vibe from the parents, like the dad seems super fun.
Yeah.
And like super sweet. And then the mom, and I can't say this about like, cause we're not like Muslim American.
Right.
But I feel like they did a great job of portraying that like the mom is very protective and the dad is too, but like the mom is very strict as well. Very old school.
I think she, again, we're not Muslim Americans and I'm not well versed in the cultures or the traditions, but I can say from like a parenting perspective, and I think that she wants to try and instill those core values in her daughter, and so she's a little bit more strict with her. And I think throughout this episode we do get a little bit about the cultural references and just the expectations there, and dressing, in more of a modest way. Her mom references that a couple times, and I think I really love the mom as a character. I think she's great. Definitely trying to protect her and instill those values.
Yeah. And when I first watched the first episode, because we didn't watch this together, she watched it on her lunch break, and then I ended up watching it on my lunch break at work because she closed. So that kind of sucked. But the first time when I watched it, I thought that the father was Jeffrey Wright, the guy that plays oh my gosh, Gordon from the Batman movie.
Oh, okay.
Because he looks super similar.
A little bit.
And then I was like, that's not Jeffrey Wright, but it kind of looks like him.
Yeah.
And he sounded like him a little bit. I just thought that was funny.
Yeah. So going back to the plot, she's trying to get either her permit or her license. I didn't write that information down. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So when she's leaving, the father's like, make sure you double check your mirrors and all that. And then she leaves. She gets in the car. The instructor's there. He's like, all right, let's go ahead and head out. And she pretty much throws it in reverse and slams into his car.
Yeah.
So the mom and dad go to meet him there, and to pick her up. And the guy's trying to blame her.
Yeah.
But the mom and dad like super stick up for her and say, did you not? She's checked her mirrors. I know she checked her mirrors. It's like,
are you telling me she has to signal every time she's turning?
Yeah. So I love that even though they're like more strict, they always have her back kind of thing, which I really liked. But the next scene, we find ourselves in the school where we meet Bruno and her other friend Akia.
Yeah. So she failed her test, obviously, because she crashed into the instructor's car, which is actually kind of like a vital plot point for this episode, which we'll find out in a couple of minutes. So we're at the school. We meet her best friends.
Yeah, and she tells him that she failed her test again. And then it's brought up, well, how are we going to get to Avengers Con? And Avengers Con is this new concept of pretty much of a Avenger comic book convention, but not comic book, just a convention about superheroes and the superheroes in this universe.
Yeah, and it was going to be the first one, and they were both going to take part in like dressing up, and she was going to be in a Captain Marvel costume contest, which they've painstakingly created their own costumes. Hers more so than Bruno's. But they've dedicated a lot of time to put into these costumes.
Yeah, they've been prepping for this for a long time. And pretty much her failing the test is like, oh, now we're not going to be able to go.
Yeah, because they have no way to get there.
Yep. And from that point, it's a little stressful for her because she doesn't know what to do. And like the whole story is that she's just a misunderstood teen, always fantasizing about things that aren't real. So like it shows like a montage of like her classes and like how she's always fantasizing. She gets called into like
I think it's the principal's office.
Yeah, or like a counselor or something.
Yeah.
And he's like, you gotta keep your heads out of the clouds. And they reference Mulan. I can't remember what
he quotes Mulan.
Yeah. And something else, but pretty much saying that like you gotta live outside of this fantasy land that you're daydreaming in.
Yeah. And it's funny because during that conversation, she actually zones out for a minute, and he's like, really? Like, we had just started talking. We literally just started talking. You're already like zoned out already. But I thought that was sweet.
Yeah.
Okay. So after that, her and Bruno are trying to come up with a plan of how they can still go to the Avengers Con. And so she basically elaborates this huge plan where it's very time sensitive
and unrealistic.
Yeah.
Because it's how they jump out of the window and she lands like a superhero. They're gonna parkour off of their bikes on top of a bus.
Yeah. Take the bus,
go to the Avengers Con,
leave at an exact time period so where she can get back home and be in bed when her dad comes to check in on her at like 9:22 or whatever.
Yeah.
So they have this whole plan, and then
it goes awry for sure.
Yes.
But before we get to
that,
I'm
sorry, I jumped like a whole part of the plot.
No, you're fine. No, because that's what it really like leads into that. But whenever she goes home after the school day, she's sitting on the couch, and I don't know if the mom brings a box in or if the brother brings a box in. I think it's the mom.
Okay.
But the brother takes it upstairs.
Right.
She gets there's this box, and she's like, what's this? And it's stuff that the mother's mother, the grandma, sent over from, I can't remember if they say Pakistan or wherever. But stuff that she'd sent over, and she's going through the stuff because she's trying to find not a relic, but something to make her Captain Marvel costume stand out, because that's one of the like guidelines is make this Captain Marvel suit a suit that looks like Captain Marvel, but it represents you as well.
Yeah, and it was important to her friend Bruno, which I thought was really cool, that she includes something from her heritage.
Yeah. Bruno, that's one of the things that I noticed in this first episode is like how much I already care about the Bruno and like Kamala like relationship.
Yeah, he's super sweet.
Yeah, he definitely likes her, but I don't know if it's like a like want to date like, or if it's just like they're really good friends. But it's very convincing already in the first episode.
Yeah.
So the mom, she's going through this box of relics. The mom says no to this bracelet that she gets out. And she's like, Amir, come take this box and put it upstairs, please. So, and then after that, she goes shopping with her mom. And there's like a whole montage of the mom and Kamala going out and shopping and doing whatever. And during that, I think she's getting like fitted for a dress for a wedding. And the mother's talking to another lady, and they're just bad-mouthing someone else because it's like their religion or like their views are just like way different than, they're just very I'm looking for the word here, help me out.
I don't know.
Old school, like old-fashioned. The mother is very old-fashioned compared to like Kamala not being old-fashioned.
Okay.
But sorry, we're getting sidetracked here because I'm trying to think about what this word's called. But
It's also it's hard for me, again, like we keep running into this. I only watched the show one time, the episode one time. And it's hard to keep it straight when it's been like 5 days since you've watched something to like do a plot.
Yeah, you'd think we would have learned by now to watch it again, but it's just been super busy.
Yeah, it's easier said than done to watch TV when you have 2 full-time jobs and a toddler.
Yeah, and a toddler that wants to watch nothing but Pixar movies.
Yeah, we can't just turn on the TV and have this playing or he's going to throw a tantrum at 0.2 seconds.
Yeah.
But anyway, I messed up the plot point already because I was talking about them making this elaborate plan, but that was after
the mom says no.
The mom says she can't go.
Yeah. So we'll just jump to like that part.
Yeah.
So they find themselves like sitting in the living room, and Kamala walks up to the mom and dad and they're like, hey, I want to go to this Avengers Con. And the mom says, pretty much immediately says no.
Yeah.
And the dad's like, well, yes. She means yes. And she's like, no, I mean no.
Yeah.
And there's like a little back and forth between there. And it just shows like how strict the mom is and how much the dad just is like, he's strict, but at the same time, like he just loves his daughter.
Yeah.
And you can really feel that in like that little moment. And Kamala says, there's an Avengers Con. It's like a party. And she doesn't say party, but the mom says like, oh, it's like a party.
Yeah. And it's like all the girls are going to be dressed in these skimpy little outfits, tight, revealing clothing. You're not going.
Yeah. And at that point, Amir walks in. And Kamala says, if it was him asking, you would say yes no matter what, because he gets whatever he wants. So, like, she storms off upstairs, and later the brother comes in and says, hey, like, I can see that this really means a lot to you. Do you want me to go talk to mom and dad? And she's like, you do that? He's like, yeah, I'll do that. So he goes down there and convinces the mom and dad that she can go. So she texts Bruno because she still doesn't know that she can go yet, or potentially go. And she says, like, oh, we can't go. And when she says, like, we can't go, I liked how they used the different, like, street signs and stuff as, like, the text emojis.
Yeah. I noticed that too. It was really nice because obviously most shows and or movies that are coming out now where they're communicating via text, we either see like
a text bubble,
a shot of the phone or the text bubble or whatever, but this one was different, which was cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say that earlier, but I was like, oh, we're not to that part yet. But I love that, how it just shows that. So the brother talks to the mom and dad, and the mom comes upstairs with like she made it herself Hulk little outfit, and it's like not revealing at all. It's like a dress.
Yeah.
And it was so sweet. The dad like comes roaring in, face painted green and like hulked out and everything, and he's just like, "Rawr!" And the mom's like, you can go as Big Hulk and Little Hulk. And Kamala's like, no, there's not a Big Hulk and Little Hulk. And she's just super embarrassed. And the mom says, well, the only way you can go to Avengers Con is if you go with your father, and you can only stay for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And Kamala pretty much just says no. And there's like a little disagreement there. And I think she calls the dad like lame, or the situation.
It's just very apparent. I don't remember what was said, but it was just very apparent that she was going to be embarrassed by having him there.
Yes, that's what it was.
And you could tell that he was really...
It hurt him.
Yeah, it definitely hurt his feelings.
Yeah,
which
and
is
I felt
sad.
bad.
Yeah, I had a lot of mixed emotions in this scene because it's like, I loved that the parents tried and were going to let her go.
Mm-hmm.
That is good. But it's like obviously, you know, your daughter is a huge Captain Marvel fan. She is obsessed with Captain Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let her go in her Captain Marvel outfit that she's obviously been working really hard on. And you can, modify it to where it's more modest and more in line with their beliefs and their values. I feel like the parents could have come to like a better kind of
conclusion,
middle ground there with her.
Yeah.
But I think the foundation was there as far as it being like they were trying.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just super sad because you could just tell the dad was like,
yeah, the dad was so excited.
And, she says like, I think she calls him
Abu.
Or Abu. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, no, you're not going after that. And that's like what kind of broke my heart was because it's like, you could just tell like he's so sad. And now he's got to tell his daughter like, no, you can't go.
Mm-hmm.
So then they come up with the elaborate plan that Ashley talked about earlier. And that plan does not go the way they wanted to. She's late to begin with to get ready. She's like 10 minutes late, I think,
mm-hmm.
is what it says in the show. So she's 10 minutes late to do that. And then she's got to get her bike.
Or she's got to jump out of her window onto the tree branch and then like parkour down.
Yeah.
So she jumps out.
And falls.
Lands on the tree branch. It completely breaks off the tree and then she falls straight down to the ground.
Yeah.
Lands on her back. Probably gets the wind knocked out of her. And then they're already late.
Yeah. So they bike down to the bus station or the bus area where they're supposed to meet this bus.
Yeah.
That bus is gone and the second bus is about to leave.
Yep.
They load one of the bikes up and they can't get her bike up.
So the bus takes off and her bike is obviously going to be stolen because it's just sitting on the ground.
Yeah. And then we get to Avengers Con.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool because it's at Camp Lehigh, which is where Captain America did his training.
Yeah.
So, but I kind of have a problem with that too because I thought that was blown up in the Captain America Winter Soldier movie. That same area.
I have no idea because it's been so long since I've seen that.
But that's just I was like, man, I thought that was blown up in Captain America. I guess it's been like 10 years in the movies, though, since that had been blown up. So they could have obviously redone it. But anyway, that was just one of the things I was like, that doesn't seem right. But then I realized, it's been like 10 years in the Marvel timeline. That probably makes sense that they cleaned that up. But we get this Avengers Con. We go through the Hulk's mouth to enter the con itself.
Yeah.
And then there's just like a whole like homage to like all the superheroes that we've seen. Like there's some Thor things and obviously Captain Marvel, Iron Man, but not a lot of Iron Man. Ant-Man and Wasp, there's a lot of references to them, and then like War Machine and a couple other things.
Mm-hmm.
That we get references to. And they start saying like, the Captain Marvel contest is in 15 minutes. So she runs to the bathroom to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno had previously made these, they call them photon gauntlets is what they call them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like gloves that lit up.
Yeah.
And she was going to wear those. But as she was getting ready, she saw the bracelet. She put it on, and then she totally forgot about the gloves.
Yeah, she like left them in the bathroom because they were sitting under her bag.
Yeah. And whenever she gets out, like to get on stage, I can't remember if she had a problem putting it on or if when she finally clipped it on.
It took her a minute to get it, but that was right after she comes out of the bathroom. She sees Bruno, and he's like, "Oh my God, you look so amazing."
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Where are the gloves?" And she's like, "Oh my God, like I must have left him in the bathroom." And then I think she said, "I'll go get him." And he's like, "No, you don't have time." And then he's like, "Just put the bracelet on."
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And then it took her a minute to get the bracelet figured out.
Yeah. And she's walking up onto the stage.
So she put it on.
Yeah.
And then we kind of pause and you see
like the energy waves.
Yeah. Go up her arm.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's right. And she like flips, she like falls back into like another dimension with all these ghostly purple figures.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea what that could be. to what I know, that's not anything like Marvel Comics related
Okay.
that I know of. But I mean, there could be something there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode because I feel like I'm just like, bah.
It's been almost a week since we've seen it.
Yeah.
So anyway, she gets up on stage
Mm-hmm.
and she's at the front of the stage. Everybody's cheering for her, but there's just a lot of lights, flashes of lights. The lights are bright. She's probably super nervous, and that triggers some sort of reaction in her.
Yeah, and she puts her arm out.
Yeah.
And she starts projecting these like hard light crystals.
Yeah.
And it's like going over like the crowd.
Yeah.
These projections are.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like freaking out. And I can't remember what she does to make the Ant-Man head fall.
I think she just like has one of those waves that hit it.
Is that what it was?
People are freaking out and she's like, oh my God. And then she, like, one of the last ones that she shoots or whatever.
Oh.
Hits the head.
The head.
And then it's kind of wobbling.
Mm-hmm.
And then it does fall off and just like wreaks havoc on the place. Knocks
Yeah.
a whole bunch of shit over.
Which, that was one of my other things. The head, like, rolling around.
Yeah.
That was too long.
Yeah.
Like,
I
it
agree.
rolled
I'm
for,
what
like,
is-
a long time. And I was like, oh, my goodness. This has been rolling
I
for too
didn't think
long.
it, like, I thought it was silly because I'm like, it would fall off and then roll and maybe knock a couple of things over, but it's not realistic for an object that's not like completely round to continue rolling and to continue knocking things over.
Yeah.
It was just a little extra.
Yeah. But eventually it, like, hits a Thor's hammer
Yeah.
or something. And then it hits the
Bully's
bull
Zoe.
yeah, quote unquote bully, but now fangirl of her because she was asking her like, oh my gosh, do you do parties?
Yeah.
Can you come to parties? And she gets hit by Mjolnir, like swinging through the air.
Yeah. I honestly after a couple of the shows that we've watched, I thought it was gonna just like kill her immediately. But I guess this isn't one of those.
Yeah. So she gets like thrown back like 2 or 3 times, and then Kamala like reaches her hand out,
Yeah.
and like her hand obviously
Catches her.
extends,
Yeah.
and it catches her, and then like it drops her from like a foot above the ground because
Mhm.
like it's just how her powers work, I guess, or that she hasn't like mastered her powers, that she couldn't like open up her hand and drop her. The hard light crystals just like like they just fall and break.
Yeah. And then Bruno runs up to her and he's like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah. And then it pretty much was a mad dash to get back to the house.
Yeah.
The branch that she was supposed to climb back up into her room, she obviously can't climb into her room.
Yeah.
So Bruno is like hoisting her up onto the like their awning,
Mm-hmm.
and she ends up using a hard light crystal to step on,
Yeah.
which I was like, oh look at that.
She wouldn't have made it home without her powers.
Yeah. So she gets in her room, and as soon as she opens up the window,
Oh,
there's the mom
she knew.
sitting there. And I can't remember what she says other than like, I'm disappointed.
And yeah. She's like, who are you?
Yeah. You felt that moment because like every kid has kind of experienced that like rebellious a little bit stage where you maybe not breaking out of the house like she did, but like a who are you moment. Like, what happened to my sweet baby?
Yeah.
And it's just super relatable.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I like, because this show, well, let me finish like the episode here, and
Yeah.
then I'll kind of go back and say like
Yeah.
what I thought about the show. So the mom says what she wants to say, like how she's disappointed and all that, and then the show kind of pretty much just ends there.
Well, it ends with her like looking at her hand,
Oh yeah, and she
and
says,
the you know more about the
The light.
power. The light
mhm.
is kind of just like flowing around her hand, and she's kind of just like moving her hand around, like obviously trying to understand the power
Yeah,
and what's going on. And we just kind of end with her laying in bed looking at it.
yeah, and then we get like the credit scene, and there's actually an end credit scene to the show.
Oh, I didn't watch it because I didn't have time on my lunch break, and then I didn't know about it till literally right now.
Yeah. So the end credit scene is actually the same guy, the damage control from Spider-Man No Way Home.
Okay.
The guy that accuses him. So this lady sees Kamala use her powers at Avengers Con.
Well, obviously someone's going to see something, because you would be looking at the person who is doing the thing.
Yeah.
And obviously when you see them leave, maybe you follow them or whatever, but
yeah. So they see this video online and are like, "Oh, we need to bring her in because they're Department of Damage Control."
Yeah.
And
okay.
obviously she damaged some stuff at Avengers Con. Ironic. But I'm going to give my overall thoughts of the show, and then I'm going to let you kind of do like your quick overall thoughts. This show was not like, I was not really I was looking forward to the show, as in it was a Marvel show and we're going to get like just more Marvel content. But I was cautiously optimistic about this show. And episode 1 blew away my expectations for the show. Like, I was so surprised. It's super charming. It's super sweet. I'm already connected to like the chemistry of all these characters, like the mom and dad I absolutely love. The brother is funny, and like the little bit that we get from him. Her relationship with Bruno is like super great already. And I just thought the overall episode was fun. And maybe it's because we've had nothing but dark phase 4. Like Moon Knight was pretty dark. Loki was like a pretty dark, sad-ish show. Black Widow was dark and sad. I mean, all the phase 4 stuff we've got have been pretty like sad. And this was just really fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good time watching it. And makes me super excited to see what happens in the next episode on Wednesday.
How many episodes are there going to be?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's 6.
I just know that it was a mini series, so I didn't know if there were going to be like 4.
I think it's 6.
Okay.
But like I said, I really love the show, and I can't wait to watch more.
Yeah, I was also pleasantly surprised. I don't love it as much as Josh does, I think, but I am excited to see where it goes and to be able to, obviously, in the next couple of episodes, explore her powers and watch her learn to control them. I'm excited to see, like, obviously it's a hero show, so we're going to have some sort of like villain, some sort of obstacle that she's going to have to overcome, and I'm curious to see what that is.
Yeah. I'm also curious if we'll get another Avenger cameo, like from another Avenger. Like, will we see Captain Marvel?
That would be awesome.
Will we see Monica Rambeau? Like, who knows what we see.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'm looking forward to episode 2. Obviously, it comes out Wednesday, along with Obi-Wan Kenobi, which makes it super hard on us to do 2 podcasts in the same night. And that was the issue this past week.
Yeah.
And today, honestly, because today hasn't gone the way we wanted it to.
Yeah, I'm like, we finally got going with this one after several takes, like we mentioned before. And it's just like, really? Like, can we just have a day where everything goes according to plan?
No.
I'm like, we got up at 6:30. We got to the grocery store this morning by what?
7:30.
7:30.
Mm-hmm. We were doing really good.
We were doing good on time, and it's just like now it's like late afternoon, and I'm like, what in the hell happened to the day?
Mm-hmm.
And Grayson's nap was way short. It's like he knew. He has a sixth sense, and he knows when is the worst possible time for me to take a short nap.
Yeah. And I mean, like an hour and a half nap for Grayson is like nothing. He normally takes like a 3-hour nap on the weekends.
Yeah, because he's so burnt, like so exhausted from school all week and playing, and sometimes you have to wake him up to leave in the mornings. Anyway,
But yeah,
he took the short nap and then he woke up and he was like freaking crazy as hell.
yeah,
And I'm like, oh my God. Like,
yeah. His
chill.
energy level was like 100.
Like,
for sure.
let's chill out for a minute. And then he started to get like whiny. And it's like because his nap was too short.
Yeah.
So anyway, we survived that. And I feel better after doing this podcast. But
Yeah,
we
I
were
do too.
both super stressed out.
Yeah, we were both. It was like we were trying too hard. I don't know
Well,
what it was, and I keep looking at my notes and fumbling up, and then I'm nervous about my whole tongue issue I've had because I feel like I can't talk, and like I feel like I've got like a major lisp, or I sound like my tongue is swollen, so I can't talk at all. So I just was.
I
I
think
couldn't
it's,
get it going.
I think it's well, we're never going to be like fully relaxed with Grayson in the house. First of all,
Yeah.
if we had sent him to be watched by like your mom or something where he wasn't here
Yeah.
and we didn't have to worry about him like waking up or walking in or making noise, we would be a little bit more relaxed. But it's also like my mom and her husband have taken time out of their day to watch our child for us. And so we don't want to take 10 years to record the podcast. And then we ended up getting so freaked out by that fact that we
Kept
took like
screwing up.
5 or 6 takes and we're both like, oh my God, we're so frustrated.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're real people and we have real struggles, but we remain excited about this podcast.
Yes.
And dedicated, and we are ready to record some more episodes in the future.
Yeah. So the next episode from Miss Marvel will be at least Wednesday or Thursday or Friday. It'll be after Wednesday when we get another Miss Marvel.
So Thursday, we're going to see Lightyear.
Oh man, we'll have to do a podcast about that.
Oh my God, there's so many things.
Yeah.
I wish you had Friday off of work because that's my day off. And we could send Grayson to daycare
Yeah.
and get some work done. But that's not the case. So, yeah, we're going to see Lightyear on Thursday. It'll be, I think we've said this before, but it'll be Grayson's first theater experience.
Yep. Tickets are bought.
So we've got the tickets. We're going with Nana and Jekka. And it's going to be a really good time. But yeah, we'll definitely have to do.
It'll be a busy week between that episode of Miss Marvel and Obi-Wan Kenobi and a Lightyear, and then trying to squeeze another Disney Parks podcast in because we haven't talked about Disney Parks in a while.
I know. And it's like, this is not what I expected to happen.
Yeah, we've turned into
We're like full-time podcasting right now. And it's like, we're like, yeah, we're going to record an episode on Sundays.
Yeah, one episode a week.
One episode a week. And it's like we have 2 shows that are dropping on a weekly basis right now that we want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And they're different categories. So you can't do a one podcast with both shows. And even if you did, it wouldn't matter because you still have to watch both shows.
Yeah.
And then it's like
It's
Lightyear's dropping. And I'm like, I want to talk about Disney World, but we'll get there.
Yeah. It might just be like in the downtimes of like not having stuff to watch on TV. That's when we hit our like stride with like all the Disney Park stuff.
Yeah.
Which will be nice because by that point you'll have a lot of loaded ammo kind of thing.
Well, like one of the things I really want to do is a top 10 favorite things at each park.
Mm-hmm. We've discussed this so many times, but it's like, when do we do this episode?
Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But we've been ending up recording most of our podcasts at 9 or 10 p.m.,
mm-hmm.
which when you're old like us and you have a child is late.
Old like us.
It's late to start the podcast. And then we have to do edits.
And
then it's like 11:30, wake up at 6. Anyway, we're complaining.
Yeah,
we love it though.
Yeah, we do love it, and that's why we keep coming back and doing more. But we will get a Disney Parks out eventually. But like I said, it might just be during the downtime of Disney Plus not having a TV show or a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Or we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Every week. But if you've made it through like about 8 minutes of us rambling for no reason, thank you for listening still. Check us out on Instagram at the BTE Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley's been posting on there pretty consistently.
I'm trying.
It's hard to post on there.
I'm going to complain more. It's not really complain, but just like I want to give people perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I have a job that I don't like have my phone on me.
Yeah.
Like I don't have an office job where I can dick around. Not that people do that all the time, but like my phone is not on me. I am actively at work, customer facing 9 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
I do not have time to like post on socials during work. And so that all happens during my downtime, which I'm also like a mom and he's crazy.
Yeah.
And for me to use my full capacity of my brain, it is not in the presence of my child because he's running around and my brain is like firing off in all different directions, trying to keep him alive.
Yeah.
But
he is crazy sometimes.
But we're working on posting on the socials, and I think we just got to find a balance.
Yeah. But we will have the Instagram linked into the description.
Mm-hmm.
In the show notes.
Yeah.
And then also, I mean, like and subscribe on our YouTube page, Beyond the Ears Podcast.
Yep.
And also check us out on Apple Podcasts or Spotify if you're listening to either one of those, or if you're listening from a YouTube, because that's the only places we have it. So.
Yeah, give us a rating, share it with your friends. We're still baby podcasters, but we're hopefully gonna continue and grow and get better at this. So we just appreciate everyone who's supporting. It surprises me like when people say that they're going to listen and support, but not a lot of people actually do that. Mm-hmm. So those of you who do, like, we seriously appreciate you. We hope you enjoy the podcast.
Yeah, for sure. I know my mom's going to be listening, so thanks, Mom.
Thanks, Mom.
Because she always is like, I listened to the podcast. It was great. But you guys got to speak up.
Yeah, she's been giving us feedback. I was a little, in our Pixar one, I was like straight up a bitch at the beginning. Like when I get tired, I was like so grumpy, and we kind of rely on each other to like bounce off ideas and kind of get a banter going. And I was just giving you nothing to work with. Like, I'm just like sitting here and he's like looking at me. I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I'm like, we're doing a podcast.
Well, we stopped at one time. I was like, you got to talk. And she's like, I'm going.
I'm like, I'm really tired right now. But anyway, I think we did better today.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks again for listening. And we will catch you guys either Wednesday or Thursday or Friday.
You'll know when it's posted because it'll be there.
Yeah. But thanks again for listening. We'll see you guys next time.